The last key point is being a great help.
The 2K Sports pregame show.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome to
This is 2K Sports, broadcasting from Houston, Texas, as the Rockets take it to the hardwood with Greg Anthony, Chris Webber, and David Aldridge, Kevin Harlan. And joining us tonight, a man who once said he will never write another traditional sports column. Please don't say that. So, Bill Simmons, don't say that.
Well, now you just have to tweet. You need 280 characters, and you can pretend you're a writer.
And let's go straight over to David Aldridge for
Well, guys, we know when you talk about dedication, Chris Paul is among the greatest. Now, he says, I have a scary passion for basketball. I study it, I watch it all day, every day. I'm not the most athletic guy, so I have to use my mind and my knowledge of the game. Kevin, he is a professor out on the floor.
tremendously competitive with great attention to detail, David. Thanks. Bill in Houston, if there's one critique of James Harden's game, it's been his defense. But do you think that's changing a bit? We're seeing some evolving in his game.
Definitely changing. First of all, he's playing defense now, which has been a revelation.
Jeff Bezdelic, I think, has really gotten his fingerprints on it.
Yeah, good name drop, too, by the way. I like that. Yeah, you know what changes your defense is being picked apart online, and Twitter GIFs and YouTube clips and people on studio shows on big, giant HD screens pointing out that you didn't try on this and that you're a matador. And I think that there's been a shaming element of his defense that's actually been successful for him. And I wish we'd had that in the 80s for Dominique Wilkins and some of these other guys. Maybe if we had shamed Dominique Wilkins, maybe we would have played better defense.
All fueled up and ready to go. Let's check out who's on the floor, courtesy of Gatorade. So for Oklahoma City right now, the forwards, George and Grant. Westbrook and Ferguson, their backcourt, and it's Adams in at the center position. Westbrook against Paul. The 10-footer. Tried to bank it in, but he misses. Here's Houston now. Chris Paul, future Hall of Famer, so many individual achievements. No rings to this point. Has missed some big games because of injuries. Where is he in the landscape of that discussion?
I mean, unquestionably a future Hall of Famer. One of the 7, 8 best point guards ever. There's no question. I do think the playoff resume matters a little bit, and I think the reality is he's 5'11". Like, he can list himself as 6'1", but he's a 5'11" guy, and it's really, really hard to build a championship team around a small guy. We've only really seen Isaiah Thomas in the modern era since the merger. He's the only guy we've seen be the focal point of a championship team, and Isaiah he's probably 6'1", maybe 6'2". It's just hard. It's hard to build your entire team around a short guy in a league with giant guys.
Yeah, scoreless here early after their first 4 shots. They right now are searching for a bucket.
Here's Harden. It's rebounded by Oklahoma City. They just couldn't come out on top last time they took on the Rockets. That one was played down in Houston.
And they lost a close one last time they saw each other. And you have to think that it was the foul trouble that really kept them from getting the win.
You think about how many minutes that cost their starters. No question that had an impact on such a close game.
Lob pass to Gordon. Oh, and they get in the way of the alley-oop. Not to be. Good play defensively. And George kicks to Ferguson. Here's Grant. Played in with a nice touch off the glass. Grant's got his second bucket tonight. Bill, with last year's do-or-die season finale between Minnesota and Denver, final game of the regular season, momentum is gathering for a play-in tournament, maybe for the last 2 playoff spots. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I wrote about this in 07. I called it the entertaining as hell tournament, where basically the first 7 seeds were guaranteed, and the 16 teams that didn't make it out of the 2 conferences, they just went head-to-head, single elimination. And then you have the final 2 games in New York City, and you blow it out, and you have a fun thing with it. I think that Minnesota-Denver game was important, and maybe the solution is, the 6 seeds guaranteed in each conference. and then you have 7, 8, 9, 10 in each conference, and you just have playing games. You have 7 versus 10. You have 8 versus 9. You do it over the course of a couple days. You use the TV revenue from that because you could get good money from that to maybe shorten the season,
Great
which
idea.
would be, for me, the #1 thing I would change about the league. I think we should have a 70-game season. You could talk me into 76, but there's too many games. There's too many nights where the players, I just think basketball is really hard to play.
Westbrook against Paul. Westbrook passes to Grant. Back to Westbrook. Over Paul. Not enough on that one as it misses. Rockets trail by 8. We were talking about the length of the NBA season and various opinions on shortening it. I suppose, Bill, one argument is that you want regular season games to be more significant, and you want that regular season to mean something every night.
Mean a little bit more.
Yeah.
Make the pace, I don't know. When you get after the All-Star break, you can really feel these guys slogging through it. You know, and especially the good teams, like a team like Golden State. All they did all year was whine and complain. Oh, well, we knew this was going to be a hard season. It can't be that hard. You have 4 of the best 20 players. Like, settle down. I think you'll be fine. You're winning every game by 30 points. But I wish they would tighten the season.
The Thunder shooting their first free throws of this game.
Only shooting 71 really on the season, so there is plenty of room for improvement.
And he can't get the first one. Bill, your long-lost cousin Ben Simmons headlined a tremendous rookie class in 2017. And in fact, people might think it's the best rookie season ever in the history of the league.
A lot of good players. Hey, Simmons, Mitchell, Tatum. Do we count Simmons in that class, though? I guess
Well, since he won the Rookie of the Year, let's put him in there.
All right, we'll put him in there.
Technically.
I think if you come out of a year of rookies and you get one guy who has a chance to be a franchise guy, that's a good thing. We had 3. If you're doing 3 a year for 10 years, you have the most ridiculous league of all time. I think the talent ebbs and flows, and we've had stretches. Like, I think last decade, in the 2000s, especially like from about 03 to 07, 08, like, we were just short all-stars. We were just short a few guys, and you saw teams like the Nets with Jason Kidd made the finals 2 years in a row, and you saw the Ben Wallace Pistons team actually win the title.
With no superstars.
Right. And you saw, you know, in 06, the Pistons, remember they were on pace to win 70 games, they had 4 All-Stars. The league just wasn't that good, and now it's flipped, and it's so loaded. I think from a talent standpoint, as good as any year since 1993.
Oh, that's a big statement.
Yeah, which 25 years ago, we just loaded with guys who could be Hall of Famers someday, or, you know, 8-time All-Stars, things like that. So now you look at this 17 class, Simmons, Mitchell, Tatum, just right there. That's awesome. I still believe in Lonzo, and I still believe in De'Aaron Fox. I think those guys can be All-Stars too.
Gordon finds Paul. Shot clock at 6. And Tucker has it in the corner. And the 3 off target. The Thunder leading by 6. Passes it to Grant. In the corner, it's Westbrook. Over Paul. There's the pass to Ferguson. 5 on the clock. Adams trying to free himself up. Ferguson's shot is good. 12 seconds left here in the first quarter. Al Harden. And that shot was up in time, but doesn't go in. And we reached the end of the first quarter. It's the Thunder leading by 8. And back with the start of the second quarter in just a moment. The leadership of Russell Westbrook is so important to the team, and Steven Adams talked about what it means to him.
He's doing just an unbelievable job at just controlling the guys, controlling the game, making sure that everyone's like feeling in the right mood to play and willing to sacrifice for one another.
You know, so much of leadership is that emotional component, motivating guys to give their all.
And Russ certainly leads by example with his competitive zeal, but he understands also he's got to bring his teammates with him.
And for those of you just tuning in, the second quarter of action is where we're at right now. And let's quickly break down the game we've seen so far from the Thunder, guys.
I think they played great D and not giving up anything easy early on.
Yeah, closing down the lane, closing out on perimeter shooters. Interesting first quarter.
On the floor for Oklahoma City, getting going here in the second quarter. Inside pairing is Grant and Adams. Dennis Schroeder is out there with Russell Westbrook. And it's George in at the 3 slot. Adams' shot is good. Bill, the Rockets going into last season, new ownership. Seems like the transition has been pretty smooth so far in Houston.
Yeah, except that they left a title on the table last spring. They came really close. They had big leads in Game 6, big lead in Game 7, and just could not close the door. And that's been a recurring theme for James Harden, for Chris Paul, who missed the last 2 games.
Those games, right.
And I don't know if they're ever going to have a better chance than that, because we're talking about Chris Paul now. He's in the 2005 draft. I think this is his 14th year. And point guards, as they get older, you can still get the 28 to 30 minutes a game out of them, but you're not getting like a top 3 All-NBA team type of performance. And I just wonder if they missed their window.
Paul surveying the floor. Nene kicks to Paul. Clock at 4. It's rebounded by Oklahoma City. They put up a nice win against the Bucks the last time out.
And once they established that flow offensively, really never got any resistance from the D.
And I feel like the defense was one step behind all night. I mean, they never made the adjustments to string together a few stops.
The Thunder leading by 8. Here's George. Banked in off the glass. George has got 6 points.
And I just love the aggressiveness from George, just slicing apart the defense with that terrific ability to penetrate.
Bill, you've watched the NBA evolve. Talk about some of the biggest changes over the last decade you've seen.